Falcon community to Falcon Features with Lori and Mike and Lori, the show we call Facebook Live.
We do. Even though it has a new name, I like Facebook Live with Mike and Lori, Lori and Mike.
I do too. So welcome, Vice President Barber, to the show. It's been a minute since you've done it. It's been about 2 months, actually, since we've had you co-hosting today. I mean, on the show.
Well, I'm glad to be back.
It's good to have you back.
Thank
you. Do you have a quote for us today to share with the community?
I do. It's a very simple quote, and it's from Brian Tracy, who is a motivational speaker, and he's an author of over 80 books. Can you imagine writing 80 books, Mike?
I can't imagine writing one.
I can imagine writing one. I can't imagine writing 80. And they've been translated into a lot of different languages as well. And so I think the quote is really apropos for today's world as people come out with their degree or certificate. And we talk about this a lot at the college. So he wrote, quote, "Continuous learning is the minimum requirement for success in any field," end quote. And I think if you embrace this mindset of continuous learning, you're going to go far as a leader in your field. I think, maybe 50 years ago, you could go to college, get a degree, come out, and really not have any additional training or learning as you made your way through your career. But today, we just have to embrace that we're going to have to be continual learners all the time. I know I'm learning, Mike, you're completing a PhD. I am in the midst of a doctoral program. And so it's just that continuous learning to make sure we're fresh and know everything we can about all the changes that are going on in our field. So that's it, Mike.
Thanks, Lori. That's really excellent. That's the name of the game. I mean, everything we do is always constantly changing.
It is.
Just a quick reminder to all the students and staff, of course, we still have our mask mandate going on. If you know or have a COVID update or a COVID question, you can always send an email to covid@cei.edu. This college is still publishing all the COVID stats, and the mask mandate is still in place for indoors at the college. So if there's any questions, again, you can always email covid@cei.edu or visit our COVID information website. You can see that on the screen below, cei.edu/COVID-19 information. And so that's available to you.
And I'd just like to commend everybody for everybody working so hard to comply with all of these rules and regulations that we're all, quite frankly, tired of, but they're necessary when we're on campus in large groups like we are in classes. Everybody's done a great job, and certainly some classes here and there have had to go online for a little while because there was a positive case in the class. But for the most part, we have done a really great job across the campus, students, faculty, and staff, of doing what we need to do to keep the campus open. So thank you very much, and let's keep at it so we can make it through to the end of the semester. All right, so should we start in with our updates, Mike?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so today is the last day to withdraw from classes with a W. The registrar's office closes at 5 p.m. today, so you can drop off any forms for total withdrawal to either Student Affairs or the registrar's office, but make sure you do that by 5 p.m. today.
Indeed. Also, we held a COVID drawing for our HERF funds. So as you may remember, students, we said that we would give out 10 $1,000 cash prizes for a random drawing. So we held that drawing for the HERF funds. We drew random numbers for 10 students. We had 200 students who entered our contest.
It's amazing.
Yes. And we held a random drawing. I recorded it and I had it verified by 2 people, Valerie Mitma and Jessica Payne. Awesome. And we recorded the drawing. However, we have to communicate with all 10 winners first to have their approval to release their names. And if they don't, then we'll have to edit the names out of anybody that doesn't want their name announced. And then once we have that information, hopefully by the end of the day today, we will make the announcement of the 10 random students that won $1,000 each. So we're contacting the students to determine if we can release their names, and we'll share the results this afternoon if we can. Needless to say, 10 students won $1,000 today.
That's amazing. That's a lot of money,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows how long this is going to go or last, and maybe we'll do another one. Who knows? We'll see if more funds come available. But that was one way we were able to use those HERF funds.
Yeah, well, that's very, very exciting. And so congratulations to whoever you are. Again, we're not announcing those names. All right, so very excited that we now have overdose rescue kits on campus. The Narcan rescue kits have been installed in each of our buildings next to the AED devices. So we're just really excited. We had somebody from Eastern Idaho Public Health come and talk to us about the importance of doing this. So we're very grateful that we have those on campus. Hopefully we will never need them, but should we need them, it's really great to know that we have them.
And we're the first community college in Idaho to have them installed as part of this program, which was funded by grants and didn't cost college anything. So that's kind of exciting. So October was a busy month for Student Senate and student life activities. The trunk or treat and pumpkin chucking events were last week, and they were huge successes. So we wanted to send a special thanks to anybody who contributed or helped organize, helped plan, who came and participated. We had thousands come to our trunk or treat. We had 7 teams from various schools and from CEI, high schools and actually charter schools as well, some middle school students that participated in our pumpkin chucking event. It went for several hours and it was a huge success. Lori, do you have any thoughts or comments about these events?
Well, the trunk or treat was amazing. It always just is. It's so great to see all the people from our community come onto our campus, who are really grateful that the college continues to host trunk or treat. And really a special shout out to the student affairs team, who even last year found a way for us to continue to be able to do trunk or treat. We thought when COVID hit, we thought, oh, we don't know if we're going to be able to do this. But the student affairs people put their heads together and we decided to do a drive-through trunk or treat. We did that again this year. It was amazing. And then the pumpkin chucking, or the pumpkin chunkin' or chucking, I can't say that too well.
Pumpkin chucking.
Pumpkin chucking, yes.
Pumpkin chucking
was amazing. The trebuchets were just phenomenal. We had 10 teams. That's right, Mike, right? 10?
I thought we had 7, but I could be wrong.
Okay, well, 7 or 10. But we had people from as far away as West Jeff, who were here, West Jefferson County. And it was just so much fun to do that. I think it's going to do nothing but grow over the next several years. And if I'm not mistaken, Mike, you did a live monologue for the whole entire event for the pumpkin chucking event. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Okay. Don't go and watch it. But yes, that is correct. I thought we would want just to have this recorded for the future, just in case anybody ever wondered what this was. It was so successful. I do believe we're going to do it every year.
Yeah.
I need to specifically mention Pamela Hearn, but several people on the general ed side, the CEI Science Club, and Student Senate, and and Matt Birch from the Speakeasy Club and the Speakeasy Club officers, who supported with lots of refreshments and goodwill. And just the campus community. There were so many people who came out to that event, and so many people from the community came to the event. And what a great way to showcase what science is in a fun and logical way. I mean, it was fun to see how some of those pumpkins were propelled and how that all worked out. So it was a really successful event.
Well, let me just, before we move on to the next item, I would just like to reiterate huge thanks to Pamela Hearn. This was kind of her. She had the idea and then brought it to fruition. Lots of physics, lots of math, lots of science going on. So,
and I think David McDaniel and Cole Bowman and several others in the division were very involved.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So thanks to everybody, and we'll look forward
to science.
Yep. All right. So if you are moving on now beyond pumpkins. So if you are a student with a disability or think you may have a disability, or find yourself struggling with classes, the Disability Resource Center is available to help you. Whether you're renewing existing accommodations or you need to set up an intake interview, staff are available to meet with you virtually or in person. So please reach out to the Disability Resource Center, and their phone number is 208-535-5462, or you can go to disability.resources@cei.edu.
Thanks. Did you know that the Center for New Directions has tons of services and resources for students? There's a campus food pantry available both by appointment and with posted hours. They have pantry staples to take home, but also grab and go snacks while you're on campus if you are experiencing food insecurity or you just don't know what to do. Career services, also including resume reviews, career exploration, and mock interviews, are available as a service. What about maybe you're struggling with your current caseload, class load? They have resources and study strategies, information to help you with your classes. Do you need childcare assistance to attend school? We have that. Are you signed up for a class for the current semester, but you need a textbook, so Block B, or maybe even you just never went over there before? Center of New Directions has a textbook lending library available, and that's also something you could factor as you're signing up for classes for next semester. All these services and more are available. Give the Center for New Directions a call at 535-5363 or stop by their office, Building 5, Room 591. And today, when we interview Julie McMurtrey, we'll talk about each of those things in a little bit greater depth.
And not to mention, there's all those resources available at CND, Center for New Directions, but the people there are amazing. So you will enjoy all the services that they can offer you and how they can help you as well. All right, so moving on to financial aid updates. All right, so FAFSA is open for fall 2022, spring 2023. I can't believe we're talking about spring 2023 already.
No.
But it is, the FAFSA is open. You're going to use your 2020 federal tax return for that FAFSA. You can get your application done early. It's always good to get those things done and out of the way and not procrastinate. The American Rescue Plan, or the ARP Act, HERF 3 grant funding has been awarded to students. Notifications were emailed October 29th, so just last week. So make sure you're checking your student self-service to view your award. Students receive an email from our business office when funds have been dispersed and are direct deposit or mailed to you. Students will be notified when the ARP HERF 3 website and further information will be available for you to review, and that should be up sometime in November. Additional relief funding will be available to apply for soon, so watch your email for those upcoming announcements. You should be checking your email at least once a day. Make sure you're doing that. E-refunds are available. You can sign up for direct deposit in self-service. We also still have some work-study positions open and available. The positions start at $10.50 an hour, and the hours can range anywhere from 10 to 19 hours per week and are flexible with your class schedules. Please contact financial aid to apply, or if you have any questions.
For some more financial aid updates, Thursday, November 11th is Veterans Day, and so work-study students will not work on that day because it's a federal holiday for them. We still have classes that day, though, and for employees, that's a floating holiday. The last day of withdrawal from full-term 16-week classes is today. Again, we iterated that at the top of the meeting, and now we're reiterating it again. Today, today, Monday, November 1st. So by 5 p.m., if you have to do a total withdrawal and get your form in. I believe you can withdraw from a class if it's not your only class after that time, before midnight. But again, if it's for a full and total withdrawal, you need to have those forms in by 5 p.m. The last day to withdraw from Block B, late 8-week classes, is Monday, November 22nd. Withdrawing from a class or a few classes can affect your satisfactory academic progress, which relates to your financial aid. So be sure to check with the financial aid office before you drop classes to see how you'll be affected. So if this is something that you're contemplating and you're trying to do it for this semester, for the full semester, please come in today. Withdrawing from all classes will cause a payback to your financial aid. Please contact the FA office to discuss options and potential payback. And then scholarship info, you can call 208-524-3000 extension 7, or go to either the foundation office or the financial aid office. Okay. Woo! 14 minutes of updates for the month.
We got through them.
We got through them. So now I'm so excited to introduce my very good friend and colleague, Julie McMurtrey. Julie, she has a wealth of knowledge and information. Before she was at College of Eastern Idaho, she worked for Department of Workforce Services in Utah. So she's a careers expert. She's also a psychology expert, and she's also a student support expert. And she's been doing this for many, many years. She's also one of my favorite humans on the planet and one of my closest friends. So Julie McMurtrey, why don't we give a big round of applause for her? Yay.
Welcome, Julie. We are so glad to have you on the show today.
We really are. So Julie, the first question comes from me. Please introduce yourself and how long have you been at the college and in Center for New Directions, and how long have you, and just tell us a little bit about how you got to this role.
Okay, so as you may have guessed, my name is Julie. I have been at CEI just over 8 years. I started in September of 2013, and I've been in C&D the whole time. I love Center for New Directions. So as Mike mentioned, prior to this, I worked for the state of Utah for 20 years. I did a lot of work with educational institutions and training, and kind of the federal side of making sure students had funding in order to complete their educational goals. I loved it. I worked with great people. I didn't have the student interaction, and that is my most favorite thing here at C&D. So happy to be here.
Welcome. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, Julie, we are so thrilled that you're part of College of Eastern Idaho, and even iTech before College of Eastern Idaho. We are very lucky to have you. So can you just tell us what C&D is and what C&D does?
I can. So C&D stands for Center for New Directions. We are actually under the governance of the State Office of Education. We're part of Idaho State Statute. With our there's 6 centers for New Directions across the state. All of the community colleges have them, and ISU has one within their College of Technology. So the state takes $20 from every divorce fee and actually puts that in a big old bucket, and then divides that bucket up amongst the 6 centers once a year. So one of our core foundations is serving single parents and displaced homemakers, helping them to increase their income, reattach to the workforce, connect with resources, and that sort of thing. So beyond that, we're really lucky because CEI is very generous in supporting us with some other funding and allowing us to serve a broader scope of students. So we work with students who are in a non-traditional career field. So that is a gender-based definition on our campus. So at CEI, it tends to mean males in healthcare and females in trades and computer networking and cybersecurity and radiation safety. So the best way to describe our office is a connector. We're a resource connector for our students. So whatever it is our students need, it may be a resource that we have in-house, and we'll talk about some of those. Like, for example, we have a bunch of school supplies available. So maybe if you're a single mom and school's starting and you've got 3 kids in school and you have to buy them all of their backpacks and notebooks and everything like that, and then you're starting school as well, that can be expensive. So we have a lot of those things available, like binders and notebooks and stuff like that. Or if it's one of those days and you ran out of the house and forgot your backpack and just need to grab a notebook or something to get through the day, we have that too. So whatever that gap may be, it may be a financial gap, and it might be connecting with Department of Labor for their educational funding, or it may be helping to maybe give you some tips for how to address maybe some current concerns in one of your classes and how to best help you so that you can be successful as a student. So whatever that gap is, whatever that resource is, our goal is to meet that resource.
Thanks, Julie. So can you describe career services and what a career center is exactly?
I sure can. A career center, our career center is very mobile right now. So Center for New Directions is taking on career services here at CEI. So what that means is just what you'd think. It's connecting students to a career. But there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. So maybe, sometimes we have students walk in the door and they know what they want to do. I want to do heavy duty diesel. I want to be a nurse, whatever it may be. They have that path and they know exactly what they want to do. Or they might know that they just need to improve their skills and their income, and they're not sure where to start, and they need to do some career exploration. We do some career assessments. We do a Myers-Briggs type indicator. We do a strong interest inventory. We use some of the items available on the Next Steps Idaho website. So figuring out what's a really good fit for you based on your personality, based on your interests. and that sort of thing, and kind of finding a match. If you're starting a new career, you're going to be in it for a long time, and you're going to invest a lot of time and a lot of money. So you want that to be a solid match. So there's that initial kind of first steps of planning a career and figuring out what you need to do. There's also a big piece there in the middle that while you're in school, maybe you're looking for just a part-time job that will help you meet your expenses. Maybe you're looking for something that's more based on your schedule that will fit. Maybe you're looking for something that is tied to your industry and what you're studying, whatever it may be. We post a lot of part-time jobs for students that way. And then the end piece, of course, is as you're finishing up your education here and you're starting a new career, especially in our technical fields, what is it that you need to do to make that connection? So who's hiring, how to fill out a job application, the tricks to filling out one online, because that's how most are done now. How do you write a resume? What do you put on your resume that's appropriate? How do you write a cover letter? What's a mock interview? So all of those things, wherever you're at in that process, whether you're just starting, like I said, you're not sure what you want to do, you need some support while you're finishing your education, or you're done and looking to start your career. So services along those lines is what a career center does.
Just a quick follow-up question. Who can take advantage of these services from Center for Direction?
That's an excellent follow-up question, Mike. So anybody can take advantage of these services. So anybody on our campus is more than welcome to reach out to our office. And then especially with the career exploration piece, a lot of that is geared toward prospective students and students who aren't really sure what they want to do, or maybe just sort of kind of dipping their toes in the water about higher education and starting school. So really, our general sort of, I guess, buffet library of services are available to anybody who shows interest.
Thanks.
That's an amazing service for our campus to have. So that's really exciting. All right, so this next question people might think sounds crazy. So what is Handshake? I know what a handshake is, but what specifically is this? Is this, what do you call it? I don't know.
Software program.
Yeah, software program. Thank you, Mike. Software program. What is software program Handshake, and why does it matter?
So, okay, so what is Handshake? When you think of a handshake, like you said, Lori, you know what a handshake is. You reach out your hand, you shake someone's hand, nice to meet you, that sort of thing. Kind of the status quo for a first step in a job interview. Handshake basically does that in a virtual way for college students and employers. So it is a software program, as Mike mentioned. So the cool thing about it is, like, if I'm an employer, maybe I'm a larger employer like Idaho Steel or Basic American Foods or something like that, and I'm in their HR, I have all of these jobs that I'm trying to fill. I have a Handshake account, and I can shoot that out and share that with all of the colleges and universities that use that program. A lot of the bigger institutions in our area are already using Handshake. That means our employers are already connected to it and familiar with it. It's a really high quality student employment tool as far as going in and creating your profile and making those connections to the employers who are looking for someone with the skills that you have. So kind of a quick and efficient and high quality way to get connected to your career.
That's amazing.
I love it. I'm very excited about this. I've wanted Handshake here for a few years. I know most of the colleges have it, so I'm really, really proud that we're getting this done for our students.
We're this close.
We're this close this month, hopefully, so it's exciting. Run us through a mock interview process. So why would someone want to do a mock interview? What's that about?
I think most of us would agree that job interviews can be a little bit nerve-wracking. Tends to be one of those things that make people really nervous, up there with like public speaking and, I don't know, skydiving or whatever. But interviews
and skydiving, to me, it's like the easiest thing in the world versus the hardest thing in the world. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, something scary. Never mind.
Most people are afraid of public speaking.
There you go. Snakes, spiders, whatever it may be. We all have something. So back on track, Julie. Okay, so mock interviews. A mock interview is really just a practice run through of that process. So the more you become familiar with something, the more confident you will be, and the better you will be at doing it. So that applies to skydiving, for example. It applies to mock interviews. So being able to anticipate the type of questions that will be asked, being able to have kind of your 30-second speech or your elevator speech or whatever you want to call it, that standard answer to, tell me about yourself. The employer does not want to hear, I like cats. Like, they want to know why you're a good fit for that particular job.
Unless it's a cat related position.
If it's you're right. If it's a cat, if it's like at the cat sanctuary, that is well placed. But if it's not, then maybe something different. And again, helping to anticipate those questions, calm those nerves, so that you're more confident in your responses. The cool thing about our brains is that when you think about how professional athletes train, you think about somebody running an Olympic race, how many times they've run that race in their head before they ever step foot on the track, or how many times that football player has run those plays in their head before they ever step out on the field. Our brain doesn't know the difference. So the more we go over and over and over these types of events, the more we're increasing that recall and that confidence, that level of understanding for whatever that event may be. So a mock interview is just that. It is a practice interview. We try and make it as realistic as possible. So if it is someone who has met with me, a dozen times and has pretty good rapport and things like that, a mock interview with me probably isn't going to be as successful. So we'll pull in one of our other staff members that they may not know as well. If it's an employer where we know that they do panel interviews, we'll put a panel together. We'll ask questions that are specific to the industry. And that sort of thing. So again, it's all about building confidence and skills so that you're successful when it's the real thing.
Thank you. What a great tool. Can you think of any, this is a follow-up question, can you think of any maybe anonymized success stories from some of your mock interviews? I know I have a few examples, but I thought you might share.
I can. So we have a student on campus right now who is, she's a current student, has some long-term goals, but is also a single parent and is supporting a couple of kiddos, and was transitioning similar industry but not identical. So we did a review of her resume for her. We pulled some current job postings to the industry in which she's transitioning into, and made sure we had the correct terminology and that sort of thing. We did a mock interview with her. I haven't talked to her since the middle of last week, but she had her second interview and was waiting for a call.
Oh, that's great.
That's amazing. Yeah. And when you were talking about that, specifically with the athlete, I mean, I talk about muscle memory a lot in yoga, that you want to have really good form so your muscles can recall that good form.
Right.
That helps you get stronger more quickly. It's the same thing with the interview. You want to have really good form, so you want to make sure you're doing it right as you practice.
I also want to share, we've got a couple people in the chat. Thank you for your support. So John, thank you. Remy, thank you. Go Falcons, yes. Yeah. And then Haley Holland, who used to work in the Center for New Directions. C&D is amazing. The important thing to remember is you don't have to have your ducks in a row in any shape or form to go see them. They can help you with step one.
That's right. Yeah,
it's true. Thank you, Haley. It might not even be ducks. It might be squirrels. It might be a couple of this and a couple of that.
Campus does have a lot of squirrels. Well, used to have a lot of squirrels. They were relocated.
Let's not go there, please.
Humanely relocated.
Yeah, super impressed.
So, all right, next question. Let's go on. Tell us about our childcare grants. We are really excited about these.
These are probably my most favorite thing right now. So we have a couple of grants. I worked with Mike Walker, our Dean of Students, to obtain these, but we have two grants. One is specific to residents of the city of Idaho Falls, because it's a grant that we received through the city through community development and block grant funds. The other one is a larger grant that we applied for through the Department of Education at the federal level, and we were awarded a grant that's $30,000 for 4 years. We're just starting year 2. At the end of 4 years, we'll be able to reapply and anticipate increasing that to probably between $40,000 and $50,000. So we've taken some bits and pieces from the state child care program to provide some guidance and some framework, but beyond that, we've really tried to simplify eligibility. So, for example, the larger grant, if you're receiving a Pell Grant and your child care provider is licensed, those are the 2 eligibility requirements. If you're not receiving a Pell Grant because maybe you're attending classes through our college and career readiness and you're working on your GED or something like that, come see us because we have some leeway there as well. Our city grant is you're a resident of Idaho Falls, you meet the income limits that are determined by Housing and Urban Development, the providers of the funding, but they are fairly lenient. And then again, having a licensed provider. So a lot of flexibility. We love working with, if you're receiving child care through the state, through the Idaho Child Care Program, or ICCP as it's known, then you may just have a copay and we can cover that copay for you. So then your child care expense becomes 0 and you can use that money to, you know, pay for other things, to pay for internet and all the other things that you need to have in order to be a successful student. So it takes that worry off the parents' shoulders. We've received nothing but positive feedback and just love seeing it grow.
That's amazing. Thank you, Julie, for telling us all about that.
Yeah, thanks. I do agree. It's really one of the coolest things that we've done here at College of Eastern Idaho, and we've really transformed in the last 4 years all of our student services, and it's really great to see it coming to fruition. I mean, even things like our veterans grant that's not in your office, but it's still related, and it's really cool. And there are several recipients of both those grants that are in your office. One of the other things that we've done that I think has been really great, due to our excellent partnership that was started years ago with the community food basket, is that we've brought a food pantry onto our campus. So kudos to all the people who were involved, particularly you and Haley Mack. So Julie McMurtrey and Haley Mack were very involved in this, and others, and Ariel and Dave in the past, but people who at the community food basket that really helped out. But Julie, can you tell us the status of where we're at right now with our food pantry and what students can see or use for that? And it looks like, oh, Julie Thompson has a comment. She says, "I wish there would have been a Center for Directions when I was a student." So
me too,
Julie's one of our great.
Too.
Julie's one of our great. We're actually going to mention her in a minute.
We're going to talk about
her. Julie is one of our great Center for New Directions counselors. So, but in that vein, so tell us what the status is right now with our Falcon Food Pantry.
So our Falcon Food Pantry is open to anyone on campus, students, employees, whoever may be in need. As Mike mentioned, we partner with our community food basket here in Idaho Falls. They supply the majority of the pantry staples, the canned goods, fruits, vegetables, peanut butter, that sort of thing, oatmeal, macaroni and cheese. We have a grant through the foundation office here at CEI that allows us to supplement that. So it's kind of interesting, like a lot of people donate pastas and things to the food pantry, so we get a lot of pastas but no sauce, or we get loads of peanut butter, no jelly, or that sort of thing. So we use the foundation grant to kind of fill in some of those gaps and some of those missing items. But the majority of what we use that foundation grant for is the household and hygiene items. So things that can be really expensive if you're on a limited income, and you need them. So we have like personal hygiene items, toothbrushes and toothpaste and deodorant and that sort of thing. We have laundry detergent available. So those things that, again, can make a difference. you can come and get them. So up to 6 visits in a 6-month period, because we follow the guidelines of community food basket. I will tell you, we've never turned anyone away though. So
Yeah.
The other thing about our community food, or our food pantry, excuse me. So a few years ago, I had a student in my office that was just in a rough place, and I was giving him a little bit of time to kind of gather his thoughts, and we could figure out sort of next steps and that sort of thing. And I made the comment, I'm like, buddy, have you eaten today? And the answer was no. He hadn't eaten that day, and he hadn't eaten much the day before. It had been about 24 hours. And that was kind of the impetus for this. I was like, how many other of our students, and maybe it's a need, maybe there's just not enough resources at home, but sometimes we get so wrapped up in our life that we run out of the door in a hurry. Whatever it may be, we wake up late, we've got a presentation in the class, we've got to give our speech, we've got to test it. I mean, there's a million things, and we're just always running. And especially if you're like single parent too, because then you're trying to feed your kids and get them out the door, and so you become last on the list. So we have grab and go items. So we have like protein bars and granola bars and fruit cups and things for students who ran out of the door. Maybe you thought you were only going to be on campus for a half an hour or an hour because you just had to do like one lab assignment or something like that, and before you know it, you've been here 4 hours and you still have to go to the testing center and you're starving. So our brains function better when they're fed. So we always have stuff that students can come and just take what you need, and no questions asked. So
I want to do a little follow-up on that as well. So food insecurity and housing insecurity are major issues in 2021 here locally.
Yes, they are.
They weren't as major of an issue. They were still a major issue everywhere, and they were still a major issue in the community before 2020. But we have noticed post 2020 amongst the student population that both of these issues are really exacerbating. And so I think it's really important for us to be cognizant of those things and to try to do what we can as leaders to help to make those services available and to help connect resources. So I commend you for what you're doing for this, for our student program, for our job court volunteers that are helping out to volunteer man the booth, and for so much else. So I'm very excited about.
So Julie, and I have a follow-up question for you. So you said that faculty, staff, students, whoever is in need on our campus can come make use of the pantry. But then you said they were grab it. You said 6 times in 6 months, right? Is that so? If a student just come and does a grab and go, does that count as one of?
No, it doesn't count at all. And the 6 times in 6 months rule is the community food baskets rule, and because they are our largest provider of items, we've followed that. But again, we have some flexibility through other donations, through our discretionary fund, so we will never turn someone away. So and we have some of those. I didn't mention this, but we have baby wipes. We have some limited diapers as far as sizes and that sort of thing, but we can connect individuals to the diaper program that's run through Community Food Basket to get the correct sizes and that sort of thing too. So
there's no shame if you.
Yes, I'm like, that's what I was just going to say, that very thing, that you shouldn't feel embarrassed or somehow that this is a bad thing. I mean, this is what we're here for, and this is what community college is. Lots of times community college, we stand in the gap for you, for whatever, for those things that you need that we can provide the resources for. We want to stand in the gap for you. So we invite you to come if you are having those issues, and please don't feel any embarrassment or whatever it might be going through your head. That's what we're here for. And that's what we do really well, and what you do, Julie, really well. So I would just invite everybody and welcome them. And I know you welcome them with open arms to come see Julie and her team, to let them help you. Let us help you move on to the next step. So anyway, thank you for that, Julie.
Yeah.
So Julie Thompson, she chimed in saying she wished there had been a C&D when she was in college. I think a lot of us do. So can you tell us about what Julie Thompson does for C&D and why it's so important to have those diverse services?
Yes. So Julie Thompson is our special populations counselor. So that is really just a federal declaration, I guess, that's part of our funding that's tied to career and technical education. So there's about 9 groups, I think, in our special populations definition, and it's really broad. It includes single parents and displaced homemakers. It includes students in a non-traditional career field. It includes students with a disability. So really, again, her role is to help a student identify what that particular need may be, and then go about addressing those gaps and connecting those resources.
That's fantastic. So again, standing in that gap, help figure out how to bridge that gap.
Yes.
Amazing service.
Well, yes, thank you, Julie. So this has been a really wonderful conversation and a really great point for us to highlight and remind our students and our community about what Center for New Directions does. But I want to know what some of your proudest achievements over the last 8 years have been for the Center for New Directions, and where you see it heading for the future, and what you're just so super proud of.
Okay, so I'm super proud of our team. I'm super proud of the team we have now with Julie and Tammy. I'm really proud of the team members we've had. Haley Holland, who's now our mental health services director. We've had a couple of previous admins in Jen Lyman and Kathy Rogers, and everybody's always had this focus on the students. So I think that's what I'm most proud of is our team environment, and that we are always focused on the students. I love the flexibility that we have within our center, because I think it allows us to adapt when we need to adapt and fill those needs. So some of my proudest achievements, I think by far, the 2 child care grants are just made such a huge difference. made such a huge difference for our students, and couldn't have done those without you, Mike, for real. So
Thank you.
appreciate the
Couldn't have
support.
done it without you either. So
appreciate the support, and just they've made such a difference, like I said, for our students. So we have a coworker here at CEI, and I won't name him, but we were chatting one day, and I asked him something about what his favorite thing about CEI was, and he got a little verklempt. He got a little teary-eyed, and he said graduation day. And I think we can all agree with that. So we had trunk or treat last week that's been mentioned, and we had one of our students who was connected with our office. She was a single parent, and she brought her kiddos through trunk or treat, and she's now a registered nurse and is working in the field. And she, we were able to help her with some of her textbooks. We were able to help her with some scholarship funding. But seeing a student from when they first walk in the door, and again, they may have their career goal pinned down, they may not, but getting those resources in place and then seeing them graduation and beyond is just my most favorite thing. So.
What a wonderful thing to say. I completely concur and agree. That's really our why. I don't know, Lori, do you have anything you want to add?
I just want to extend a huge thanks to Julie, because you do more than just go through the motions of your job. You are fully invested in those students who come through your door. And so again, I just want to encourage any student who feels like they're struggling, please go see Center for New Directions. You could not find a better support than Julie McMurtrey and her team. So thank you, Julie, for everything you do.
Thank you. And just in case anyone does have a question, and hasn't connected with us in the past, and to follow up with Lori's comments, everything we do is free. There's never a charge to the student. Everything we do is confidential. Again, there should never be a stigma. I think everybody, I can speak for the 3 of us, I think, because you're both co-workers but friends. We've all needed a helping hand, whatever that may be, at some point in our life, and that's all C&D is. So there should never ever be a stigma or any sort of shame or guilt in reaching out to our office. We are here to help, and we love to see those successes. So we're in building 5, room 591. You can stop by, you can give us a call, but we're just here.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for being here today, but more broadly, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
The last thing I want to, thank you, Julie. The last thing I want to announce is November 17th is Career Services Day, or what is that?
It's a thing. Like, it's a real thing.
Yeah. So that's this month. So we'll be celebrating it somehow this month. We're not sure exactly, but we'll be celebrating this month. So that's exciting. I also want to just thank our guest, Julie McMurtrey, and my co-host, Vice President Lori Barber.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to be back.
It was great to be back. And so we'll see you the first Monday in December for our next edition. We're just doing this once a month now. And we'll have someone from our academic side on that in December. So we're very excited for that. And thanks for joining us. Are there any other questions from the viewers?
Viewership.
Go Falcons.
Viewership. Go Falcons. Well,
okay.
Barring any other questions, have a great month and have a great day.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.